This is my story from how in 3 years I went from being a kid who didn't even know how to use a clutch, just trying to stay on two wheels on flat ground without falling, to being a kid at the track that was focusing on all the technique that I could, seeing how low I could get in a corner and pounding out lap times and trying to get as fast as the next fastest person on the track that day. And then deciding that in the third year of riding, I was going to try and get into Supercross at 2023.
Okay, so this is my first ever time on a Supercross track. On my 250, I got the suspension built, everything ready to go. So something that always happens when I get to a new track, I do get nervous quite a bit, and so just driving to the track, about 20 minutes out from getting there, nerves started to really kick in, and especially with the Supercross track because there's so many rhythms, it is just that a little bit more stressful. But normally once I get to the track and I start riding around, I feel a lot better. And that's the same with races. When I'm on the gate, I get very nervous, very anxious, and then after I pop off the gate, I'm ready to go. I just go at it. So it happens. I think a lot of people have that happen as well. But once you get out and ride, you feel a lot better. But like I said, 250F, I got the suspension built on it, so that was all good to go. Definitely get your suspension built before you do Supercross because there's so many gnarly transitions that just go straight up out of nowhere. And even little stuff that, on regular suspension could kick you and get you pretty out of shape and hurt you pretty badly, where Supercross suspension will just kind of absorb it, and you'll be able to ride the track a lot easier. But the Supercross suspension is the thing that I noticed I had to get the most used to because it's so much stiffer than motocross suspension, and all I've really known so far is how to ride on motocross suspension. So the Supercross suspension is a very big difference. Since it's harder, you don't want to turn as much. The bike doesn't really want to handle, and through chop and braking bumps and stuff, it just does not work. So definitely don't ride Supercross suspension on a national track because it won't feel good, and you'll get probably a lot of arm pump and very tired. But like I said, it's first Supercross track, so it's pretty intimidating just rolling around at first. And everything's just so tight. Luckily, I've ridden other tracks around me that are more kind of like arena cross, just tight stuff that still has some rhythms here and there, but nothing too gnarly, kind of like amateur Supercross stuff that I've been fortunate enough to have around. So riding that definitely does kind of help you settle into Supercross for sure. But like I said, I was super nervous at first, but now I'm riding around. I'm like, all right, I'm starting to feel out the track. It's feeling all right. But even still, just looking at the step on, step off, stuff like that, you look at them, you're like, there's no way you can pop off this thing. I can get onto it, but there's no way I'm gonna get off of it. And even like the finish line double and the triple, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do those. Like those are gnarly. And then I was rolling the whoops, but I ended up kind of just going around them because, especially with whoops, they're hard to maintain, and you don't want to mess them up, especially because other people might be at the track that can actually use them for practice. But yeah, like I said, all my nerves calmed down at this point, and I was just riding around, getting used to the track. But the thing about the Supercross suspension is that it 100% settles in over time. Like from their first ride to your third ride, it's such a big difference because it settles in. The forks especially. When you first ride on Supercross suspension, the front forks feel like 2x4s. They're so stiff, you can't turn. They want to swap left and right, and it's not super easy to ride. But then, your second ride, it feels a little better, and then by your third ride, you're like, all right, like, bike feels good, like, it's ready to go, and it kind of just settles in, and you get used to handling the bike and the way it wants to move, and so you get way more used to it as time goes on. But definitely the first ride, expect it to be stiff because it very, very much is. But I just kind of took my time with the track. You never want to rush yourself with Supercross because if you do, you'll get hurt, which I learned pretty quickly another time. But this I was just taking my time. That's what it's all about. And if you go too fast, you're gonna hurt yourself, and then you're not gonna be as quick because it'll get in your head, or you just may not ever want to go back to a Supercross track. But yeah, so just take your time. Always, if there's an option to do a double out of a section, take it rather than a double in, because it's far safer. Since if you double out, there's not the rest of the rhythm that you might go into and hurt yourself on the rest of it. So always take doubles or triples out, because they are the safest option. And Supercross triples, I prefer that you kind of double out rather than double in, just because they're blind, especially on the triples. And so it's easier to see the 2 humps at the end and double those. So go single double instead of double single, because you can do the single, you see how far you need to go, and then you just get on the gas and double the rest of the triple. And another thing is watch people. If there's somebody else at the Supercross track that's riding, I 100% say that you should watch them and see how they're doing things, because it helps a ton. Eyeing up stuff by yourself is never easy, but if you have someone else that's there and you can hear what gear they're in, you can hear how hard they get on the gas, and how they hit it, it helps a ton. Which I was lucky enough on this day to have some other people riding with me. I had Nick Nisbet, McClellan Heil, and Bryson Gardner out there with me. So they aren't all riding yet. I'm riding right now, but they do come out later, and you'll see later that I watch them kind of do some of the jumps and finally, see how they do it, and then go up and eventually hit it myself. But this track was really good. It wasn't super gnarly because it had gotten a little beat down since it hadn't gotten rebuilt recently. And when they do rebuild it, it's super peaky. Everything's really steep, but that also helps because it makes sure that you can kind of pop into a double in or a triple in. But this track was super good. It wasn't insanely technical, but it was, a regular Supercross track, so it was very good practice. There's kind of a puddle there. You kind of see me looking down. It's because every time I'd land, the puddle would get my boot wet, and I hadn't sharpened my foot peg, so it was very, very slippery. But you can see, speed check, finish line double, still not doing that because there's just no need at that point, and I knew that if I watched somebody, then I'd, kind of do it. But nerves settle out, like I said. You need to go out and just not worry about it. Just stay safe. And something that you should do before you get on any Supercross track is look for any hazards.
What's up? Okay, since you're not doing the whoops anyway, and whoops are kind of hard to build and maintain.
Go around.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with just not sweating the whoops and just going around. You can see how somebody else was doing that here.
Yeah.
And then they go on that like a hip.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just pull back on and go around.
I just cased hard and it wasn't that bad. So that's good.
Yeah, you're taking your time. I'm glad to see that.
Always look for hazards on a track. If it's, a hill on the other side of a berm, or if it's just, maybe a bump or a square edge that you'll hit and it'll kick you wrong. Just look for any amount of danger anywhere that you'll be able to see and avoid, because especially with Supercross, there's no room for error. So any error that you see that could possibly potentially happen in the future, you want to eliminate that immediately, which you can do either by riding around the track or by walking around the track and just looking, trying to see if there's anything that you might come up on and get very hurt from. But this track was pretty technical, so it was very, very good practice. And this was a good day. The track was still pretty good. It wasn't super torn down, but you can see there's ruts and some little rain ruts as well. But something that I especially noticed with Supercross is all timing. It's all timing, and that's why you need something like a 250F or a 450. I don't think 125 would do so well just because you can't rely on a 125 the way you can on a 250F. And 252 stroke, I'd rely a little bit more on just because they have so much more power. But the 250F 100% is very, very reliable, especially on a track like this. So you can really use the bike to give it enough power, the power you need, and fit in the pocket just how you want it. I'm gonna apologize right now for all the GoPro settings on the video because it probably doesn't look great. It's very zoomed in. I gotta figure out how to get that. I think that I got it figured out, but I gotta look one more time. And also the sound quality. Everyone always kind of has problems with the sound on their videos, but yeah, it's definitely different compared to motocross. Motocross is very just who's on the gas the longest, you know, how much braking bumps and how much, you know, ruts you can go through, whereas Supercross is like, all right, I got to get through this section. And I take it mentally. I look at the section, I'm like, all right, I can take this the safe way and I can take it the little bit harder way. What you see right now, like I said, I'm watching Nick hit it. Just a finish line double, that's all I was looking at right then. Didn't look like he hit it super hard, just gassed up to it in about second gear. He does have white number plates, don't worry, he is on a 250. He just was using those plastics from his 450 that he had before that he was using for nationals. So he is on a 250, so just letting you know. But like I said, I watched him do that, and it didn't look too hard. Just needed to take my time, and especially on anything really with Supercross, you saw I just saw him hit that triple right there as well. But with Supercross especially, you have to know that you're going to land it. In your head, you should not be thinking about anything else but I'm going to clear this jump. Because if you think for a split second that you're not, you're going to have a big problem. I was taking a little bit of a different line through that. You can see it kind of went inside, rolled, and then doubled, which I change up later. And the whoops on this track weren't very big either. You can see the ones on the left were bigger and the ones on the right were smaller. And I'm not focusing on whoops right now. I'm really going to leave those until the end of practicing for futures to really start getting whoops down. But I look at it two different ways. There's a safe way I can do the rhythm, and then there's the hard way that I can do the rhythm. And the hard way is not bad. It's mainly better pretty much every time because it's quicker. But the safe line is just so I can warm up. And you saw at the beginning I was just taking double outs because that's the safest option. You're not going to get hurt if you double out and land flat. You're going to get hurt if you try and triple out in case, or if you try and double in whiskey throttle and launch the rest of the section. But I think about it as, all right, here's where I need to land, that's where I'm going to land. And I just take it one step at a time. Just, all right, here's the first double, do that. And then I look at it, and I'm like, all right, I think I can do the second. Do the first double, do the second double. And then do the third obstacle and the fourth, all the way through the section. And then if there's a triple out, I'd say take it. Triple outs are the safest triples that you can do. I would not recommend doing triples in right away. Because it's very dangerous and it's way safer to triple out. So take it as, you know, here's the safest option I can do. I roll everything, I'm fine. Then here's a safe option that's quick. You double everything. Even the tables, you just float over them, land on the backside, do the rest of the section. Then you think, all right, I got the safe section down. I feel comfortable. I feel confident. I want to go for the harder section. And you plan it all out in your head. You think, all right, this is how I'm going to hit this section. Then you go and execute it. If you don't execute it, then you're going to get hurt. So you have to know in your head that you're going to land it. And that's what I do right now. if you do have the option to get on a amateur supercross track or an arena cross track, I would highly recommend it before you do anything related to supercross, just because it'll help you a lot. Because normally amateur supercross tracks or arena cross tracks are just condensed supercross tracks. They'll still have one or two pretty good rhythms. They'll have a whoop section even, and they'll have, you know, a finish line double or a triple even. So like I said, with the whole amateur supercross thing, totally helped going into supercross. Just made it super easy, made all the rhythms not feel nearly as hard, and just it makes you way more confident. So you can see on this lap I'm doing pretty dang good. I'm taking all the harder lines. I even got the triple down, and then I always look at everything else first, especially on step offs. Like, I step on, I land on it, I'm like, all right, I brake immediately when I land on it, and I'm like, can I step off? And if I can, then I go for it. But if I'm like, I don't know yet, then I just keep stepping on and not stepping off, just looking at it. You can see I kind of saw McClellan do that section, and I was like, all right, I think I got that, and so I was able to hit that. So always super good to have somebody else riding with you, and always super good to keep a safe space in your mind that's not going to freak out or kind of lose track of anything, because the minute you stop focusing on what you're doing in Supercross, you can go over the bars and you can get very hurt very quickly. So then I got a full entire lap, so enjoy. So that was a full lap for you guys. Like I said, you want to have somebody else with you at Supercross. If you don't, it's alright, but it helps a ton to have other riders on the track and just kind of study what they're doing. Take a second from riding and just watch, because it can really save yourself in some situations. And also just having a good mental headspace. Just clear headspace that you know you're going to do good in, that you know you're not going to lose focus of what you're doing, and thinking about clearing the section, landing the section just the way that you want, because if you think about it, you'll do it. That is 100% for sure. And the real reason why things go wrong is either because they lose focus or because they hit something that is different than what they had kind of had on the track before. You know, there may be a square edge that wasn't there the lap that you did it before. Just keep a good headspace. Think about landing everything. Think about doing the track the way that you want to do it. Don't think about, oh, I might mess up in this spot. Think, okay, I'm going to do this section like this, and I'm going to get it down just the way I want it to. And that's going to keep you from getting hurt. That's going to keep you from keeping your focus and landing every section the way that you want it to, just the way you want it to. So, super fun time here out at the Supercross track. Thank you so much to the people who let us out here. It was an awesome time. Had a super good experience, and it was just super cool to finally get a first experience on a real Supercross track. So thank you again to the people who let us out here. Had a super good time. Really enjoyed ourselves. I was super excited to get on this track, and like I said, I was really nervous at the beginning, but you can see now I was calm. I got all the sections down. And we had a super good time. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let me know if you enjoyed by leaving a like, and subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a lot. It doesn't take too long, and you guys will be able to see all the rest of the videos that I come out with soon. There should be a cool, awesome bike maintenance video coming out very, very soon. We got all this stuff ready for it. I'm in the middle of filming, so make sure you hit the post notification button and the subscribe button so you'll be able to see that right as it comes out. But this is the first time on Supercross, and just that one step closer to getting to futures and to the whole shebang. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.